Cool. Hi guys. Hi, and welcome to our third live coding session with Developer Program. I hope you can hear me and you can see me. I'm just waiting for confirmation. Cool. Okay, everything is fine. Right. Okay, so welcome to our third live coding session with Developer Program. My name is Jacob, and I'll be your host, and I'll be doing the coding. Today, we're going to build a simple integration with a server-side app. Right. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. So a few things about me. As I said, my name is Jacob, and I'm a front-end developer at LiveChat. You can find me on Twitter. Let's just move. Excuse me. And this bit over here. Cool. You can find me on Twitter, and yeah, the agenda for today is we're going to build a little chat guard. We're going to have a Q&A session, but please leave questions on chat on YouTube or on Discord if you prefer that way. We will try to answer the questions at the end of the session. Or maybe my colleagues will be able to answer the questions during it as well. Cool. So at the end of the session, there's going to be a contest with prizes. But yeah, more about this you can find on our developer site. Right. So yes, so the prizes. So what you have to do is you have to finish the coding exercise, which is going to be continuation of the integration I'm building today. You need to join Developer Console, create an account, and send up for review. And yeah. So cool. Okay. So what else from organizational stuff? I guess if you could tell me on chat where you're from which country, that'll be awesome. Happy to meet you all. Okay, so what we're going to build today, as I said, is going to be a little server-side application. I'm a front-end developer, so please don't judge me too much about my back-end coding skills. We're going to build a chat guard. So it's going to work in a way that when a customer joins and they have some incorrect user agent, we're going to block this chat. We're going to deactivate it, and that's it. I'm going to walk you through different options, different scenarios while I'm working. And as I said, yes, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them on chat. You can find, if you'd like to join our Discord, you can join it via a button over there. And also, as I mentioned before, this is the third part of our live coding session. You can find part 1 and part 2 on our developer site. Cool. I think that's everything from about that. So let's get to code. So I prepared a repository on my GitHub. You can find it. Under chat guard. So you can clone this repo. It's a very basic Express app with some little setup, but what I'm going to do now is just walk you through the code a little bit. Okay. Let me just check really quickly if everything is fine. Cool. So we have index.js file when we're going to put all the logic, and please I just let you know that this is a live coding session. Yeah, so the code is not production ready. I'm not going to store any data against any database because there is no time for it. So I'm going to store access token in the global variables during the node session. I know it's a bad practice, but that's what I'm going to do. And as you see, I'm using Express. I'm for connection with HTTP services. I'm going to use Axios, and for authorization, I'm going to use a client for Axios, which is very handy. And a little bit of docs. Cool. So we're going to use today authorization code grant. You can read about this in details on our amazing docs. So yeah, we have a few steps. We're going to create an app in developer console and configure authorization building block. I'm going to get that in a minute. Then we're going to use one field, which is going to help us with those three steps. And then we're going to exchange the code, as you're probably aware of how the exchange with authorization works. And then we're going to exchange code to refresh to tokens, to access token. Well, we're not going to use refresh token in this case. And then we're going to use this token to call our API. So yeah, let's get to it. So if we open Dev console, we just go to apps and create new app. I'm going to call it chat guard and continue. So as I mentioned before, this is entirely a server-side app, so we're not going to build any front end. Okay. So what we really need from here is just the authorization building block. As you probably know already from previous session, we have different blocks for different kinds of applications. You can find app ideas if you don't have any on our apps section in app ideas inspirations. Cool. So I'm going to create a authorization building block. And this is going to be server-side app, of course. Cool. So this data, of course, is sensitive, the client secret. I'm going to remove that application after the session, so you don't need to use it. You can create your own. So I'm just going to copy these two to my app. So I created the end file for environmental variables. So I'm going just to paste it here and client secret. The API URL, we're going to use API LiveChat, and for the accounts, for the authorization, we're going to use accounts livechat.com. And for our integration, I'm going to use ngrok integration because it lets me tunnel webhooks, which I'm going to use into my local host, which is very handy during development. Of course, when you send it to production, you can use different services like Heroku, DigitalOcean, or whatever really you need. Cool. Okay, so we have that. We have this. We're going to, okay, we don't need the local host over there, but we need, we're going to need the redirect URI. So what I'm going to copy is just this, save it. Okay, so as you can see now, we cannot see the secret anymore. There was a warning about it, but if you forgot to If you forgot to write it down, you can always generate a new secret clicking this link over here. So what we're going to need today with this integration is integration with webhooks. As you probably know, what webhooks are is they're just simple post messages with post object sent by, in this case, from our API with a payload, and this payload can be then handled on the server. Okay. Hold on a second. Cool. Let me just. Right. Okay. Sorry about that. So we're going to need some scopes. I created a scopes txt file. For scopes, I'm going to need, so for webhook configuration, I'm going to need those two. So let's add those two scopes. That's going to be for configuration, and there are another one for for enabling them. Okay, and then we're going to use those as well for deactivating the chat. So let me quickly set it up. Okay, and the last one. Okay, let's save that. And yes, and this magic field. So we can, when we use this field during the installation, LiveChat is going to go through the code exchange flow. So it's going to call our account service. It's going to connect with your account, and then it's going to generate the code, and then send this code to our to this URL. So what we need to do here is just insert our service, and I'm going to call it install the endpoint, and that's as far as I remember, that's get. So let's back to our app, so we can close that. This is set up. Okay, and we have our install over there. So let's quickly check if anything actually goes through. So let's check if we get the code from our request. So request, and I believe this is passed by query. So I'm going to start my server. So as you can see, I'm tunneling ChatGuard ngrok IO to my localhost. So I'm going to start my app. Cool. Okay. So now, if I switch back to my browser, and as you implementing your app, you can always try that. Privately install the app. This will actually replicate the flow, which will then be used by your customers when the app is in production. Cool. So if I do install, okay, that's expected because I didn't return anything. So let's see what we have. What we have in here. Of course, I didn't console anything. So okay, let's do console log code and code. And I guess we could send something to the browser. All good. Okay, so let's restart the server again. I'm going to uninstall and install it again. Cool. So as you can see here, the console generated the code. Our account service generated the code, and this code has been sent to our integration. And There was no errors, and I believe we have the code. Yeah, and this code we can then use to exchange for the token. So let's quickly write that. Sorry. So as I mentioned, I am going to use this access auth client, which is going to handle all the encoding and other URL parsing for me. So let's create inside this callback a method called get auth, for example, and this is something like auth client and Axios create, and maybe I'll just zoom that in. Cool. And the arguments are grant type. And let's quickly check the docs. So we have cool. So we're going to use the authorization code. Then we have code, client ID, client secret, redirect URI, and I believe there is, yeah, that's it. So of course we need our URL, and this is coming from the environmental variables. So it's going to process.env. And that was account URL. So let me just quickly open that on this page. Okay, the grant type is authorization code, client ID. It's going to be, just copy that here, just change the client ID. Then we have client secret. Okay, and what else is there? Redirect URI, which is going to be our integration URL, and I believe because this is coming from our console, from the install endpoint, that's going to be install. And code is coming from here. I know I should have some error handling, of course, but as I mentioned, this is not production ready application, so I just do really basic stuff with that. But that should give me a token. So let's try. I'm just going to wrap this in a try catch. Okay, error. And what I'm going to do is create some variables. I'm going to, because this is this is async method, I believe. So I'm going to do await and get out method. And as you can see here, very dirty way of storing the access token in a global session. Don't do that. Usually, in this case, you'd use some database service and store your clients and tokens, which you would then use to handle your webhooks traffic. Cool. So access token is going to be auth, and as far as I remember, that's it. Access token like this. Cool. Right. So let's try that, and maybe just to be on the safe side, that if there is any error, we will see it. Okay. So we have that, and we can send some error to our users. Well, this is not a great error, but I will do for now. Okay, that's that, and I think Yeah, this can go. Okay, and we can send all good. And I'm going to send and to print the access token in the console log. Okay, let me quickly check if that's all looks fine. Install. Okay, we get the code. We create a function to authorize, and then we get the token, and the token should be printed. Right. So let's restart our server. Okay. Let's go back to. Maybe I'll zoom that in, as you can see. Maybe it's going to be easier for you to read. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, that's better. Okay, let's go back to Dev Console. Uninstall, install the app again. Okay, so request failed with code 403, sorry. So let's see what happened there. Okay. So, okay, we have, let's quickly check grant type, authorization code, client ID, client secret, redirect, and the code. That looks fine. What else I could forgot? Okay, let's check. So we have our client accounts URL. Ah, yes, of course. As yeah, I missed that over there. There is a token here. So okay, let's clear that and restart the server. And let's see if that works. So I'm going to install the app. Okay, maybe I can start first. Right, okay, let's try that again. All good, perfect. This is the beauty of live coding session, that always something unexpected happened, but okay, I managed to fix it quickly. Okay, so we have access token. So this is great, because now with the access token, we can do different things. What we're going to do next, we are going to register some webhook. We're going to enable it, and then test it with our LiveChat application. So let's kill that for now, and let's go back to docs. So we mentioned that on this in this article on our developers website, all the information you need and all the links you are going to find here. So we have a webhook session, and then some information about the agent chat API. So let's see what we have with webhooks. So okay, so we're going to use the register method over there. This will let us register the webhook. But first, to avoid, because sometimes it happens, to avoid registering too many same webhooks, so you're not getting hammered by LiveChat on the same endpoint. It's always good to do like a little checking before if the webhooks already exist on your application. So what we need to do is we need to implement this method list webhooks with given owner client ID as the same client ID we generated. And then if that does not exist, we're going to register the webhook. What webhook we're going to use? We're going to use the incoming chat. Yeah. So incoming chat webhooks, I'm going to explain that and show that later, but this is happening when your customer joins the chat. Yeah, when they send the first message. At this point, we will have some information about that customer, and we can do different things. So let's check the method. Let's check the list webhooks method. Okay, so as you saw initially, I already registered those scopes. So these scopes are used for with this token, so that's fine. I'm just going to need to pass the owner client ID. So what we're going to do is going to implement a method. Usually, I would obviously move this logic to some separate files, but for this demo, I'm going to just create that here. Create a async method called check webhook, and this is going to be async, and okay, and we're going to pass. Actually, we don't need that because it's it's a global variable. So cool. I'm really going to do simple error handling over there, and cool. So let's just print for the dev purposes that we are actually going to send this request. Okay. So we are sending the configuration action, so we know actually what's happening during the installation. So we're going to have some response, and we are going to use okay. We need to create some API client, and I'm going to use Axios, which works fine on server and in the client side. So actually, you don't need to worry about different cases, checking window, if it's a server, if it's a browser. This library works perfectly. So we have this little API client. Let me just double check that I have that env set up. The API URL, it should be here. Yep, it's perfect. So we're going to use it over there, and we are going to call post. Just quickly check. So this is post, and we're going to need authorization token, which we already have, and the owner client ID. Perfect. Okay. So what we have here is this API URL. So just need to copy that bit. Okay. And we need owner client ID, and as you know, we already used that. It's our application client ID, and the third argument is the options, and we're going to use headers here for the authorization and of course you would normally create some class as some API client, which this would happen, the handling of the token and setting up all the all the clients, all the headers initially. But for this demo, I think that's good enough. So we're going to use it over there. Authorization. Okay, that here is fine. Okay, and going to see what's going back in the response. I believe, as far as I remember, I think we can just extract this to data. So let's see what we have in our data and console. And so you can check if there is, because our API puts the error in the response data. So if we just have our response data, we can create new variables error response data. Sorry, we have data here and data here, but it's different blocks, but it's fine. Okay, so let's call it actually console log. And I tend to do for the dev purposes something like a method name, so I know where the problem is. And so it's going to be error response data, and it's error. Yeah, it's not very pretty. And then we need to call this method here. So when we have access token, we store this in a global variable. Again, don't do it in a production app because it's of course it's not going to work with different clients. But let's call it here await check webhook. Okay, so I think this should work. So what's going to happen now when your customer installs the app? The O flow will go through. We're going to exchange codes to access token, and we will try to register webhooks. Of course, this should happen only once, so that's why we're going to check first for the webhooks. So let's see what happened now when we run this app. So let's start the server. Okay, and let's install the app. Okay, that's all good. So the data is empty. Okay, so that's something expected because we did not register any webhooks yet. So so that's fine. So what we can do here is just return true or false if there are any webhooks. So what I'm going to do is data sum, and let me just quickly check the docs for webhooks. So if we have a webhook, we're going to get an array back. And what we are after is to check the action, yeah? Because we're going to register only one webhook, which is the incoming chat. So we're going to check if there is incoming chat action. And owner client ID is this one. Cool. So let's finish that. So if there is at least one action like this, oops, called incoming chat, then it means that webhook exists. So maybe change the name to check webhook exists. Okay. So I'm going to leave the data here. We're going to need that later. So I'm just going to rename that over there and see if that exists. So if it doesn't, we're going to, let me just write some pseudocode quickly and register webhook and then enable. We're going to talk about enabling webhooks in a minute, but for now, let's just comment these methods. And if your webhook already exists, you don't want to do that anymore. So so that's fine. Okay, so and one little trick I learned is when you're actually installing the app, as you saw. Let me just make sure that we're going to console log that if the webhook exists or not, and we're going to restart the server. So as you noticed, this window is not coming, is not closed. It's not a great experience. We can put some message to the user to close it, but we can do it. We can do it automatically. And what I'm going to do is just inject some JavaScript. It's not pretty, but it does the job for now. Would be nice to have some loading state over there, or some page which you can, some HTML page prepared to send the user that something is happening, and then close it. But for this session, this should do it. So let's restart the server again. Okay, let's install it. Cool. So if the window disappears, it means that everything is fine. Cool. So as you can see, we have data and the exist is false. Cool. So let's kill the server and let's implement the register webhook. So let's check the docs again. How we are with time. Okay, 36, perfect. Cool. So register webhook. What we're going to need is action, some description, URL. So that's going to be our server. Secret key. For now, I'm going to just do something simple. The owner client ID, which you already know what that is, and the type, which is license. You have different options, different filters, which you can use. You can read about this in our docs, but for now, just going to register a simple webhook, the incoming chat webhook. Cool. So let's create a method. Let's maybe okay, register webhook, and okay. So let me copy the body because it's going to be very similar. Just going to change some method here. So that's going to be configuration action register webhook, and then here as well. This is again post. Okay, and here we will have some more data. So let me copy that from here. Okay, we're going to use owner client ID, so we can leave that. And right, so this we're going to replace with our integration URL. So let's quickly use our integration URL, and let's, I don't know, call this chat. Yeah, because it's incoming chat, so the endpoint is going to be incoming chat. Sorry, it's going to be chat. Description, yes, and test webhook. Action, as I mentioned, it's going to be incoming chat. Secret key, yeah, we can put some secret. This is, of course, for security, and this is very important. So your application handles unwanted traffic, but for now it's just fine like this. And let's missing comma. That will do. The token is over there, and what we need is just data. And I think in data we will have the ID, which actually we don't need for now, but maybe will be useful for debugging if something goes wrong. Okay. So we've registered webhook. What else we need to do is we will need to enable it. So enabling in development process, you would need to do it yourself. But when it comes to app being in production, and published, once the webhook is registered and the client installs the app, our account service will handle will ask for your permission, for your consent, and it will enable the webhooks for you. And when you uninstall the app, it will disable it for you. So, but for development purposes, we're going to need to enable it. So let's quickly copy that method. Let me just do this. Copy that method and create a new enable webhook method. Perfect. So let me quickly check the documentation. Enabling license webhook. Cool. So as you can see here, this is the owner client ID is required only when authorizing via a personal access token. But if it's omitted, it's going to use your client ID from the token. So that's fine. So let me just copy that over there. We have this scope. So let's create configuration API. Okay, then we have well, we actually don't need really data because I don't think that returns anything. No, I think it doesn't. It's just okay, just 200 when everything's fine. And let's call it like this. The payload is going to be empty and the token is passed through headers. So we don't really need anything over there, and just to check that if there are any errors. So let me quickly double check. Okay, we have post configuration action enable license webhooks, empty payload, and we have this method. So let's minimize this so it's readable. I'm going to post that code into my repository. You can check it for the reference. But as I said, this is not production ready code, so please use it with caution. So I'm going to register webhooks and then enable webhooks. And I believe this should do. Okay, so just making sure that everything is fine. So if everything is fine, we should see the window close. Okay, so let's quickly restart the server again and get back to dev console. Okay, and let's hit install. Okay, all right. Wow. Okay, this is seems to be working fine. First time. Suspicious. Okay, let's see what happened. So we checked the webhooks. Okay, it did not exist. Then we send the registered webhook and request. We got the data bug. Yeah, so this is our webhook ID, and then we enable the webhooks. Okay, so that's that looks fine. That looks fine. So what we need to do now is okay. So we can try and test it with LiveChat application. So as you let's actually check what happens if I run this again. So we have the webhook installed. We shouldn't install it again. Sorry, we shouldn't register it again. So the app is not running. So let's restart it. Okay, clear the window and install the app again. Okay, right. So okay, we have access token. We have our call to list webhooks. We have a data, which is the client actually, sorry, the webhook is actually registered already. So it exists, so we don't need to do anything with it. what we're going to do now is we're going to implement this endpoint, this handler, to handle incoming chats. So let's move back to our app. So if you go to your LiveChat app, you can go to your settings and to the chat page. This will give you a test page where you can feel like that you are a customer. Cool. So let's see what happened with our app. So let's let's implement this handler. So we have already posted this this handler here for the chat in the master repo. So let's see and implement that now. So let's first see if that webhooks works. So what we are going to do is just a simple again try catch. Okay. And copy the error handler. Maybe not from here, from another method. From here. Okay, let's minimize that because we're going to use API, and this is they have similar errors. So deactivate chat error over here, and what we're going to need is a body of our payload. So let's see how we can get that in. So we have body, we have request, and let's console log the body. Okay, that should be enough for this. So let's kill the server and restart it again. Because I'm not storing the token anywhere, I'm going to do installation all over again. But for dev is fine. Okay, so this is fine. Here we're going to uninstall it and install it again. So our server is running. Just to double check that the webhook exists, and that's incoming chat. Cool. So let's try and send some message from the chat. So we have some John Doe customer. We can start the chat and see if we get anything here. No. Let me quickly check if that is enabled. Just restart that maybe. Okay. Actually, just double check. Okay, we have post, try, and then we registered the webhook. Okay, and this is registered under the chat, and that's incoming chat, and the client ID is fine. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, nothing happened. Okay, so let's try and debug it. So let's kill the server. So we have the webhook and we have the token. So I'm going to use Postman to debug it. So let's quickly check. Let's quickly maybe unregister, and we're going to register it again. So just double checking everything's fine here. Chat card and Grok.io, the chat incoming license client ID, the ID, and okay, let's see if that token works. It should do. So let's get back to Postman. Okay, so let's try and see if for my client ID, which was again that, going to get back client ID. Okay, so this token is there. Sorry, this webhook is here. Let's just double check if it's enabled. So I'm going to enable it again. Not sure why this is not working. Okay. I'm going to do this. Okay, so it's enable license webhooks. Fine. Okay. Let me just check the history. So I'm going to get that token. Where is this endpoint here? So we have the enable, just authorization, empty body, and post it again. Okay. And hopefully, okay, I kill the server again. Let's try close the chat, restart it, and start the chat. Perfect. Okay. I think there was some issue with enabling, but as you can see, we have our webhook, the ID, the action, the license. This is then useful to associate the webhooks with your customers, so you can then pull your stored access token from your database. And as you can see, I'm getting another call. So the way our webhooks works, you need to reply if everything's fine with 200. And I think if you don't do that, LiveChat will try to send it, I think 4 or 5 times. I don't remember now. You can check that in docs to resend this webhook. So sometimes it can be a problem with network. So it's useful to try and resend it. I think this is a standard practice. Cool. So what we're going to use here is we're going to use users. We're going to look through the users and check for the customer. And if the customer is agent, we're going to check their user agent data. But yeah, let's get to it. So I'm going to close that, and just for the sake of this, so we're not getting hammered by LiveChat API, we're going to response. We're going to response with 200. So res status 200, and then send. Cool. So just to show you the incoming chat. Where is it? Incoming chat. Webhook. Sorry. Okay, it was here. Incoming chat. Right. What's over there? So this is what we're getting back. So we're going to use the user array, and we're going to get the agent not the agent, get the customer from it. So let's quickly do that. Right, so we have our body. We're going to get our chat, and this is body payload chat. Of course, you would do some checking that this is the correct payload, some validation, but for now, this should do it. We have users, and let's see if we can. Okay, we don't need body. Let's see what we have in our users. I think they're going to be quite. Let's see, quite a few. Okay, mouse freeze. Okay, it's all good now. So we should get some previous webhooks back, but if not, I'm going to quickly generate one for you. Okay, so let's kill that session. Start it. Okay, and start the chat. Wow, okay, there's quite a few over there, but yes, as you can see, I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to paste that over here. So what we have here is name, email, type, and that's what we're going to filter it by. And then we have a last visit. So we have the IP, user agent, geolocation object, and some other statistics. And this is the whole sense of this application. So for this live coding session, I'm going to edit the user agent, the agent which Chrome is sending, with some custom string. And then if this custom string is present, then I'm going to close this chat. But for the real-time app, what you could do is you could, for example, block I don't know, some countries. If you don't support some languages and you would like to send some message to your customer, oh sorry, we don't support this message. Or if you don't support some browsers, I don't know, that there are different ways of filtering it. Or if you only want to filter by email or by domain, there are many options. But for now, we are going to get the user agent and we're going to check it here. So, okay, let's move that over there. Sweet, nice, okay. So we have our users. What we need is our customer. So our customer, I'm just going to use find, and we're going to find the customer. Okay, so we can only have one customer. We can have different agents, but the customer is only one. So we have if we have our customer, we can get the user agent. Yeah, so the user agent is in the last visit key. So customer last visit, and let's print that out very quickly and see what happened. So let's go back to our server. Let's kill it, and yeah, and restart it. So let me close those sessions. Okay, and this is closed. So let's restart it. Okay, it's nothing here, and let's start the chat. Perfect. So we have the user agent over there. So as I said, I'm going to edit that in Chrome. I'm going to insert something, and then we're going to recognize it. And if it's there, we're going to deactivate the chat. So there is a little handy tool in Chrome where you can go to your tools, and then there is a networks condition, and you can change your user agent. By default, of course, select automatically, but I have prepared some Chrome session, but as you can see here, I put the chat guard. This is just for the sake of this presentation, so it's easier for me to recognize where it's coming from. Cool. So we can leave this open, and let's see if that's going to actually work. So let's close this chat and restart it. Okay, so this is the old stuff, and let's start the chat again. Yes, so as you can see, I can see that chat guard over there, which is going to help us recognize it. So okay, so what we have now is, let's just quickly write if user agent includes chat guard. Okay, and if that happens, we can call some method. For now, it's just a pseudo code, and it's going to be called close chat. And let's check the docs. So we have our method to deactivate the chat. What we need is we need those scopes. The scopes I already pasted, and then we need the chat ID. Of course, you have other stuff you can use, but oh yeah, sorry, it's just the chat ID that was from another case. So this now should call our API and close the chat if this chat guard is there. So let's quickly implement that method. Again, it's going to be in my main server endpoint, but don't do that. Just separate the code, and it's going to be easier for you. Cool. So we're going to have our ID, and how this method will go. So we have little error handler. Again, I'm just going to paste what we have here. Okay, response data error over there. It's fine. Then we're just going to call our API client. Post. And what's the endpoint? Let's go back and see. So we have version and deactivate the chat. Cool. That's fine. Then we have our ID. Yeah, just to double check. Okay. And of course, the authorization header, I'm going to copy it from here. Okay. That's fine. And I think that should be enough, because we're not expecting any data in return. We should just get 200 if it's okay, but we should see in our application, in our LiveChat app, that the chat is going to be closed. And okay, right. So that's fine. So the problem is with access token, because we have in our development, we started access token during the installation. I don't want to install and reinstall the app again. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to copy token I get from my previous session from the postman, and this should keep us going at least for the time of this session. Okay, so let's copy that here, and this token will expire if I uninstall the app. So of course this is not great practice, but for this time is fine. So just so we actually know that we're going into this method, we're going to do console log closing chat and put the ID. Okay, right. So let's restart the server and actually see that maybe first of all we check if that token still works. So let's just list the webhooks. Okay, that token is still valid. So let's start again. So we're going to put that in a chat card, user agent. So we starting the chat and nothing happened. Probably I forgot about something. Close chat. Okay, let's see. Oh, right, okay. So there is a validation error. Message ID is right, okay, so I'm not passing the ID. So let's check how this happened. Right, okay. So we get the chat. Just need to pass the chat ID over there. Okay, so let's try that again. Kill the server, restart it. Hopefully LiveChat will call us soon. Oh no, sorry, this was handled fine. So let me restart that. Let's kill that and restart. Okay, check our terminal. It's fine. Start the chat. Perfect, and the chat is closed. So on the over here, you can see that the person who authorized closed the chat. Yeah, so the agent closed the chat. So you can see some basic information over here about the customer, about pre-chat survey, but the code actually worked, which is great. But just so we know we are safe, let's try out again with correct user agent. So let's get Chrome to select it automatically, and then see what happened. Cool. So let me just check the terminal and clear it, and we start the chat. Yep, all good. It's not closing. Perfect. So let's move back to this bit, restart it again. Oh yeah, we need to close it first and restart it. And just so we are here, start, and the chat is closed. Sweet. Okay, so that works. And that works as expected. And this is actually it about coding for today. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to push that code to repository, so you can see it, you can play with it if you like. Of course, I'm not going to do that anymore. Do your own token stuff. But for the as you probably expected, I would waste much more time to implement some data storage. So something I wanted to avoid, but I just wanted to show you how easily it is to integrate with our console, for server-side applications. And if we go now to repository again, cool. So we prepared you a little game. So you can complete this task. You have to submit a pull request to this repository, and we will give you $50 to your developer program account. There are some terms which you can find on our live coding session. I'm going to paste that in a chat now on YouTube, so you are reminded. And what need to happen? So we are asking you to implement a call using agent chat API that send a message to your agent, and agent only, that the chat card, which is our application name, closed the chat due to incorrect user agent. And so I think that's clear. All the installation steps are over here. So yeah, it's just npm install. Then you need to copy the envs, and then just start it, and you can just follow what I created. And okay, I think that's it from me. Right, I believe on YouTube chat and on Discord chat, we're going to send you a feedback form. I would love you to spend some time and fill it out, so our live coding sessions can be better in the future. But if you have now any questions, please post them on the YouTube channel or on the Discord chat. So I'm going to wait a few seconds and see what we have in. Okay, so I can't see anything. On YouTube. Let me check Discord. Live coding. Okay, somebody is upset. I hope it's not about my coding session. Okay, cool. But okay, I'm going to go now. But of course, if you have any questions, the Discord channel is always open. You can paste it over there, or just leave a comment under this session. So I think that's it, and I would like to thank my team. They really did a great job with advertising and preparing the pages, and I just really could show up here, do some coding, and that's it. I didn't have to do anything else. So thank you